I refused to testify against a new neighbor my longtime neighbor hated. After that, my trash was left untouched for weeks, my water was shut off, and community Traitor was etched into my front walk. I asked her, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "Because you forgot who welcomed you here." But when I visited city records to reconnect my utilities, the person who filed my shutoff request was. I bought my house in Maple Ridge, Tennessee, about 12 years ago. It's one of those quiet little suburbs outside of Knoxville, mostly older folks, a few working families, and people like me who just want to be left alone. After my divorce, I needed a reset. I didn't want to be near anyone I knew. I just wanted peace. The house was a fixer-upper, but it had a decent yard and good bones. It was on a dead-end street, which I liked. No random traffic. Just neighbors. The first person to greet me was Donna Prescott. She lived in the house 2 doors down. Late 60s, white hair, always wore these matching cardigan sets like she was going to church every day. She introduced herself before I even unpacked my boxes. Said she was the head of the HOA and that if I needed anything, I could come straight to her. She gave me a list of trusted contractors and the names of a few neighbors I should be careful around. I thought she was just trying to help. I should have listened closer to how she talked. For the first few years, Donna kept things running smooth on the street. She organized potlucks, arranged snow removal, even helped people deal with the city when garbage pickups got missed. But everything came with this unspoken rule: you stayed on her good side. She'd drop passive-aggressive comments if someone didn't edge their lawn, or if a guest parked the wrong way. I never had major issues with her, but I could tell she liked control. And she expected loyalty. Not friendship. Loyalty. That all changed when Nathan moved in. The house next to hers had been empty for a while after her husband passed. Some folks said she was hoping her niece would buy it. Instead, a younger guy bought it, early 30s, quiet, minding his own business. His name was Nathan. Drove a dusty truck, kept to himself. He wasn't rude. Just private. Within a week of him moving in, Donna was at my door. "You've seen him?" she asked. "Strange hours. Lot of boxes going into that garage. Doesn't talk to anyone." I shrugged. "He's probably just moving in." She frowned. "I'm putting together a record of suspicious activity. If it turns into something, we'll want a paper trail." I didn't say anything. Over the next few weeks, she kept trying to get people to submit statements. She showed up one afternoon with printed photos. Nothing crazy, just Nathan unloading stuff from his truck, or walking around his yard at night. Donna acted like he was building a bomb. She handed me a paper. "Write down anything you've seen. Even if it's small." I looked at it, then looked at her. "I haven't seen anything. He's just a guy." Her whole face changed. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She just stared at me. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she asked. I said, "I'm not doing anything. I'm not lying for you." She turned and walked off. That's when the neighborhood changed for me. The next trash day, my bins were full, but they weren't picked up. I figured it was a fluke. Called the city. They said my address was marked vacant. I corrected it, and they sent a truck the next day. Then, the water shut off. I was in the middle of a shower when the pressure dropped and stopped completely. I checked the outside valve. Nothing. Called the water department. They said someone filed a shutoff request, citing foreclosure. I told them I owned the house, was up to date on everything, and they seemed confused too. They scheduled me to come in with ID. I drove to City Hall and waited in line. When I got to the counter and explained everything, the woman pulled up the file and said, "This was submitted in person last week." I asked if I could see the name. She turned the screen toward me. "Donna Prescott." I stared at it for a few seconds, like maybe I was reading it wrong. I went home shaking. I kept trying to come up with reasons why she would do that. Maybe it was a mistake? Maybe she thought she was helping? But deep down, I knew. 2 days later, I saw something scratched into the concrete of my front walk. Not paint, etched. Deep grooves that said, "Community Traitor." I looked up. Donna was standing on her porch, trimming her roses like nothing had happened. She didn't even try to hide it. I walked over. Heart pounding. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. She didn't smile. Didn't act surprised. She just said, "Because you forgot who welcomed you here." That was it. No yelling. No threats. Just that one sentence. It hit me in the chest like a brick. After that, everything started to go wrong. I got 2 anonymous complaints submitted to the HOA about yard neglect and unapproved exterior paint, even though my yard was fine and I hadn't painted anything in 2 years. My mailbox was smashed. I got a notice from the county that someone tried to file a lien on my property for unpaid dues that didn't exist. It was harassment. Organized and quiet. The worst part? Most of the neighbors wouldn't look me in the eye anymore. Some avoided me completely. Others, I caught whispering. I felt like I was being erased. So I decided to go to the one person she hated more than me. I knocked on Nathan's door. He looked surprised, but let me in. I told him everything. The trash. The water. The graffiti. The threats. He listened without interrupting. Then he said, "She told people I was dangerous. Said I was ex-con, or maybe ex-military with PTSD. Said I was running some kind of operation out of my garage." I raised my eyebrows. "Are you?" He laughed. "No. I was a corrections officer. Georgia State Prison. Got injured during a riot. Retired early. Moved here with the payout. That's it." He showed me a drawer full of complaint letters. Donna had been after him since day one. Even filed a noise complaint with recordings that weren't from his house. "I thought she'd get bored eventually," he said. "No," I said. "She's just getting started." That night, I decided I wasn't going to wait for her to ruin my life one form at a time. I started gathering everything: documents, emails, copies of the water shutoff request, screenshots of complaint reports, photos of the damage. I kept it all organized. Then I made a public records request on Donna and started digging. I expected to find more complaints about Nathan. Maybe some HOA power trips. What I found was bigger. She'd been misusing HOA funds. Small amounts, over years. Reimbursing herself for events that didn't happen. Hiring contractors who never showed up. Issuing checks to a landscaping company that belonged to her nephew, who didn't even live in the state. It was clear she was using the HOA as her personal piggy bank. And most people didn't notice because it was always a few $100 at a time. I built a case. But I knew if I reported it and it just got handled quietly, she'd come for me harder. So I didn't go to the HOA board. I went to the city compliance office directly. And I made sure I brought everything. They didn't say much. Just nodded and made copies. That was 3 weeks ago. Things are quiet now. Too quiet. Nathan says she's planning something. And honestly, I believe it. But this time I'm not waiting. A week after I handed over everything to the city, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. No postage stamp. Just folded, stuffed in my mailbox. Inside was a single piece of paper with 4 words typed in big, bold font: "You don't belong here." That was it. No signature. No threats. Just a message. But it hit me harder than anything Donna had done so far. Because it meant she knew. She knew I went to the city. And this was her warning. The next morning, I woke up to find a dead squirrel nailed to the side of my garage. Yeah. Nailed. I called the police. The responding officer said it was probably kids messing around, maybe a Halloween prank, in May. I knew better. And so did he. But he couldn't do anything without proof. Nathan and I started talking more after that. Every couple days, we'd grab coffee or meet up in his garage just to check in. He installed a camera facing his front yard. I did too. But Donna must have known, because nothing ever showed up on video. She was careful. Too careful. One night, Nathan pulled out a small binder full of printouts. These are all the people Donna's pushed out over the years, he said. I started tracking it when she came after me. He laid out the stories, people who moved in and got targeted for minor rule violations. A woman who painted her shutters the wrong shade of blue and ended up getting sued by the HOA for devaluing neighboring properties. A family who parked their RV in their driveway for 2 days and got hit with daily fines until they moved out. She's been doing this a long time, he said. I nodded. And she's been winning. The next twist came 2 days later. I got a notice from the county about a code violation on my home. It said I had unauthorized work done on my foundation, work I never did. There were citations. Fines. I called the inspector listed on the letter. He said he'd received an anonymous tip with photos. I asked him to send them. When they came through, my stomach dropped. The photos were of my house, from behind the fence in Donna's yard. You could see the angle, the bushes, even her rose trellis in the corner. She'd been spying on me. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to just play defense anymore. Nathan and I started digging deeper into Donna's past. We found old HOA newsletters, scanned meeting notes, and pulled property transfer records. That's when we found something interesting. About 10 years ago, Donna tried to buy the house Nathan lives in now. It went to another buyer, but he didn't last long. Moved out after less than a year. The next 3 owners? All sold within 18 months. One filed a complaint with the county over neighbor harassment before they left. It wasn't just about control. Donna had wanted that house for years. Nathan owning it, keeping it from her, was personal. So we made a plan. We started talking to other neighbors. Quietly. One-on-one. Some slammed the door. Some whispered that they knew something was wrong, but they were scared. But others started to listen. Mrs. Reynolds down the block told me Donna threatened to report her grandson's car as abandoned because it had a dent. The Pattersons admitted Donna warned them not to talk to me unless they wanted trouble. The more we talked, the more cracks showed. Nathan suggested we hold a private meeting. Off the books, no HOA ties. Just neighbors. He booked a room at the local library. We printed flyers, slipped them in mailboxes after dark. 12 people showed up. At first, no one wanted to talk. But once we started sharing what Donna had done, fake shutoff forms, forged complaints, harassment, they opened up. One guy, Greg, had lived there since the 80s. He said Donna used to be different, back when her husband was alive. But after he died, she became someone else. Paranoid. Controlling. Mean. She thinks this neighborhood is her legacy, he said. Like it's something she has to protect. Someone else spoke up. Or something she has to own. By the end of that meeting, people were angry. Not just at Donna, but at themselves, for letting it happen. For staying quiet. For looking away. So we took it one step further. We formed a new neighborhood coalition. Informal, not official. But real. We gave it a name, Maple Ridge Watch. We made a group email. People started sharing stories. Photos. Copies of fines. We mapped it all out. What we found was a pattern that went back 15 years. It was no longer just about revenge. It was about survival. And finally, we had the numbers to push back. 2 days after our neighborhood meeting, Donna called an emergency HOA session. She sent letters to every home on the street, hand-delivered, signed in blue ink, the way she always did. She called it a community clarification and accused certain residents of organizing disinformation meant to dismantle neighborhood unity. She didn't use my name or Nathan's. She didn't have to. We knew it was about us. I went anyway. The meeting was held in the community rec center. Donna sat at the front behind the folding table like she always did. There were about 20 of us in the room. It was more than usual. She stood up with her little binder, cleared her throat, and started her speech. I've served this neighborhood with care, honesty, and consistency for over 30 years, she said, voice trembling just enough to seem emotional. And now I'm being falsely accused by people who don't understand the values we stand for here. She listed off her contributions: landscaping contracts, neighborhood events, parking enforcement. She painted herself as the victim. I know change makes some people uncomfortable, she said. But that doesn't mean I've done anything wrong. That's when Greg, quiet, polite Greg, stood up. Then why did you file a false water shutoff for her, he said, pointing at me. The room fell quiet. Donna blinked. Excuse me? You filed it in person. We saw the record. Your name's on it. She tried to wave it off. That was a clerical error. I thought she never asked for it, he cut in. Just like I never asked you to fine me for my mailbox being the wrong shade of black. One by one, others started speaking up. Mr. Lynn mentioned the unauthorized fines he'd been forced to pay. The Pattersons brought up the time Donna reported them for illegal pet breeding because their daughter was babysitting a neighbor's puppy. Then Nathan stood up. He had his folder in hand, and his voice didn't shake at all. This woman tried to destroy my life because I bought a house she wanted 10 years ago, he said. She spread lies about me. Called me dangerous. Tried to get me kicked out of my own home. He paused, then added, and she did the same thing to at least 5 other people before me. Donna's face turned red. She opened her mouth, but this time no one listened. No one defended her. No one came to her side. The president of the HOA, who, until that moment, had always backed her, stood and said, effective immediately, I'm calling for a vote to remove Donna Prescott from the HOA board pending full investigation. The vote passed, 18-1. She was the one. But it didn't end there. 3 days later, the city's fraud department completed their review. Turns out, Donna hadn't just been forging HOA reimbursements. She'd also been skimming from a special fund set up for neighborhood emergency repairs. Thousands of dollars gone. Some checks made out to cash. Others to companies that didn't exist. She was charged with multiple counts of fraud and forgery. Investigators found forged signatures, including mine, on city forms, contractor receipts, and even on a petition to have Nathan's garage evaluated for commercial use. When they searched her home, they found boxes full of printed-out emails and surveillance photos. Some going back years. She had been watching everyone. Spying. Stalking. People who once thought she was just a little intense finally realized she'd been running the neighborhood like a personal kingdom for over a decade. And karma? It didn't wait long. Her bank pulled her line of credit. She couldn't afford the legal fees. The county put a lien on her house. She tried to sell quietly, but the story had already gone public. It made the local news. HOA leader accused of harassment, fraud in small Tennessee suburb. Her face was on TV. Her voice from old HOA meetings played on the radio. By the time she left, she had to take out a high-interest loan just to cover the fines. She moved in with her niece across state lines, ironically, the same niece she once tried to get to buy Nathan's house. Her reputation was gone. Her power was gone. And Maple Ridge changed overnight. The new HOA board reversed over 40 unjust fines. They launched a community vote to add term limits and financial audits. Nathan? He ended up running for a seat on the new board. He won. Unanimously. As for me, I learned something ugly about myself. I had stayed quiet for years. I let Donna bully people because it wasn't happening to me. I ignored the signs because I didn't want conflict. I wasn't brave until it was personal. And that still eats at me. I wrote a letter to every house in the neighborhood, admitting what I knew. What I ignored. I apologized. Some people accepted it. Some didn't. But it was the right thing to do. Because silence was her weapon. And for a long time I helped her wield it. So yeah, maybe I got my revenge. But I also got the truth. And in a neighborhood like this, the truth was the only thing that finally set us free.